Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Val Verde. I'm joined with a bastard son author, Frank T. Allen, who was the first ever podcast guest on this.
And your civil partner.
My common law husband, Frank Allen. We're here today to talk about John Rambo, or Rambo, depending on your territory. The insane directorial kind of comeback. Well, not quite comeback, because there was... Rocky first, of Sylvester Stallone. So no messing about, because we were against it today. I've got to get a train back to Cambridge. So get your copy of Rambo / John Rambo to the Lionsgate logo and press play now. Well, here we go. This film is so bloodthirsty, evil, and mad. I love it.
I was so pissed off. Yeah, because I was saying to you, wasn't I? Like the only cinemas around really, maybe like the Odeon, and I think there was some dispute in terms of like. Between them and the studio, the Odeon studio, in terms of like, you probably wanted too much, probably greedy and lazy.
Greedy and lazy. Oh, it's made by the Weinsteins.
Audio loosening my tie and wiping my brow. But yeah, so I never saw it when it came out. I had to wait for it to come on DVD. I remember seeing the Red Band trailer and going, yes. Yeah. I was super excited to see it.
He made obviously he made Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, that's 2006, was it?
I believe so, and that was made on the cheap, and then he made this off the back of that, so he got the funding for this, and both of those were kind of sold at Cannes, and I'm pretty sure that Red Band trailer came out of Cannes. I'm not sure, but I remember the buzz.
Oh yeah, you get a little bit of education. Sorry, yeah.
Fuck it, the guy I went to the cinema to see this with now lives in Myanmar / Burma.
Really?
It's just like, and when he said he's moving, I was like, we watched John Rambo together. You know better than that.
And also, didn't like the kind of war stop really shortly after this film came out, like a year or something?
I wouldn't care to say. I'm not really up on the.
I seem to recall that was like the weird thing. Cause it's like obviously real footage of like actual corpses.
We'll get to this type of stuff. So yeah, anyway, I saw that Red Band thing, and I went to saw it in the cinema. Because it was shown in Cambridge in the cinema or whatever. Yeah. It was like, we got to see this. Yeah, it's funny this, because it is very clearly the thesis of this film is war is hell.
Yeah.
However, it also seems to be a little bit that war is kind of rad.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, obviously we jumped it ahead, but later in the point where like one of the missionaries just picks up that rock and starts beating Burmese soldiers to death.
The lesson there is man up and don't be such a person.
Look at you going in there helping people without a gun. You bunch of fags.
With your Bible.
You're taking in guns and you're helping nobody. It's like, well, we haven't learned that lesson yet, have we, America? Taking in guns.
I think it's a shame that this I haven't seen Last Blood. And the reason I didn't see Last Blood is because it just looks sort of dreary.
Yeah.
Like, Stallone seems to have softened a lot recently in terms of... I mean, because, the PG-13 Expendables films and stuff.
Yeah.
And John Rambo just looked a bit kind of blurg. I understand the kind of evil Home Alone that goes on in the final act is pretty nuts and gory and stuff. But, like, this is just... I mean, this opening... it's just like...
Because you come straight off the back of, like, real-world footage of war crimes and atrocities. You go, all right... Well, we started off like, how should we carry on? All right, just replicate that shit on camera.
It kind of feels like I don't know. It's sort of like if Steven Spielberg made a trauma movie. You know what I mean? It's sort of got like, it wants to be Saving Private Ryan, but it also wants to be Trauma's War. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's a weird fusion. Look at that. I mean, don't get me wrong, right? I mean, I'm no history on like the Burmese Civil War. I mean, I've read a little bit, but that's it. And there was loads of reports of horrific atrocities, right? But the way they're made to look in this is they are so unbelievably cartoonishly villainous and the thing is, cruel for the sake of cruel as well.
And when you hear about things such as the Burmese Civil War or the Rwandan genocide, like they were doing shit like this.
Yeah.
But it's just this way. This film tries to present it in a matter-of-fact way, but it's so sort of tone deaf and cartoonish.
It is though, isn't it? It's like itchy and scratchy levels of kind of,
And I do think it's brilliant. Like, I can always watch it.
Oh, yeah, no, me too.
It's fucking brilliant. And the third act is just like jaw-dropping. It just doesn't stop. It's relentless.
Do you know what? I've heard a thing, right? Because, like, right in the third act, when he's, like, on the 50 cal on the back of the Jeep, right? Which is just hilarious. Right, I heard, apparently, they were discussing he was going to unbolt it from its housing.
From its housing?
And he was just going to hold it.
Oh, wow.
Which apparently, and I get on this, apparently... He could do it because it's really heavy, but Stallone, because he's ripped, he could hold it, he could do it.
Yeah.
But they decided not to because he thought that might look a bit ridiculous. Because they toned that. I mean, this complete lack of awareness.
It's like Elton John looking at a T-Rex made of flowers going, that's a bit much. You know what I mean?
Oh, Christ. It's this. But the thing is, I think they did like a lot of stuff like charities for current rebels and stuff like that out of it. So they really thought, I think their heart was in the right place. They were trying to be like...
I think, the message of the film is war is hell, and it's like how war corrupts and what war does to you, because John Rambo is presented all the way through as being irredeemable.
Yeah.
And the final kind of note of the film, which is where it's a good place to end John Rambo, is that he regains his humanity and he feels able to return to society.
Yeah, and goes back to see his dad, who is, because when he gets asked, "Oh, you have any family?" It's like, a dad, maybe.
Yeah.
So he's obviously like been in Thailand for ever since.
I always imagined that if they when he walks up to the Rambo farm to see his dad, I just imagine his dad also being played by Sylvester Stallone, but like with flour in his hair, like a kid in a school play, just like
awkwardly just cutting back and forth between them. And she's trying to do it in one take, right? So he's just like sort of flipping behind.
Do you remember when Vic Reeves played George Peppard in the 80s, and he had like croissant sellotape to his face, or was it pan au chocolat or something? Looks like that's the end of communism.
Oh, Jesus, yeah, that's great.
This is this really, to talk somewhat seriously for a moment, in as much as we can.
It's difficult.
This kicks off, Rocky Balboa kicks off the kind of modern era, the modern phase, if you like, of Stallone as director.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've said this before, and I'd like to talk about it from time to time at some point, but Rocky Balboa, I think, is a really lovely film, and it's a really personal film, and it's clearly about him, and it's really touching, and it's
I saw that at the cinema when it came out.
Yeah, me too, and I think these are two great kind of counterpieces, because he reintroduces signature characters on the cheap.
Yeah.
And he did them in two completely different ways, because they are character studies, but this is just, just look at this film. Rocky Balboa, there's loads of kind of almost addressing the audience, and he's talking about Sylvester Stallone's situation at that time, because he made that for dick or money and had to make it all himself, and the kind of, again, the era, so we've had, was it called Homeland, the one with Statham and James Franco that he directed, and obviously the Expendables, and
Escape Plan as well.
Did he direct Escape Plan?
I don't know, but he made the
sequel,
but then it was something, but that, it was like, I think he was obliged to do it contractually, so it was like completely shite.
Yeah, I've heard it's awful, but I think there's supposed to be a third one as well.
I thought Escape Plan was alright, actually.
I wasn't mad about it. I didn't hate it.
You hid like a vegetarian.
That's the thing. It's such a squandered opportunity. I mean, Stallone's director, right? I think, and again, for example, the Rocky movies that he directed.
Yeah.
Like Rocky 4 is legitimately fucking brilliant.
It is.
It really is.
And I've had that argument with so many po-faced people. You're like, it's just ridiculous. Like, I love the Rocky films, right? I even like Rocky 5 because it's so bad it's good, right? It's like, my ring's outside. Just ends up in a pub, like car park brawl. But like Rocky 4's fantastic. I mean, Rocky 1 is great because it's very like indie kind of art housey almost. But then Rocky 4 is just so much fun.
They're a nice kind of litmus test for the the state of Hollywood, because it's kind of, Rocky 1 is very much a kind of post-crash earnest kind of movie, and it was Stallone's screenplay and stuff. And remembering as well, he's a really good writer. Like,
didn't he write that over a weekend? That's the story, isn't it?
And he had to sell his dog to blah, 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 all that. I mean, as a director, people joke about this a lot, but his visual language is quite compelling, and clearly things like the way he assembles montages and scenes like that, because that's something that's very key to his style.
No, absolutely. I think that, he's one of the sort of classic action heroes who gets lumped with, oh, well, you can't act. It's like, he can, actually.
Yeah.
And he does, and he has a good understanding of cinema.
I'm not going to pretend he has the hugest range in the world, but he's very good at what he does.
But then I think he knows that as well, though.
Yeah.
So I think it's not like, I mean, stopping my mum will shoot, but
yeah, well, and all that, and Oscar, and all that shit. But then, in terms of a comic turn,
can we do Rhinestone? Do a comic?
Yes, yes, we can. Over the top, mate. That's the one.
Dolly Parton and Stallone.
The comic turns. Demolition Man. He deadpans his way through that as a comic turn.
Yeah.
Tango and Cash as a straight man.
Yeah,
he can do it.
Yeah.
I would say Stallone is. God, I've got a throat full of snot. Sorry.
I feel like that.
Stallone. And people will laugh at this and say what you like, but Stallone is an artist.
No, I agree.
He's a writer, director. He's not the, because this is the thing. He's not. He's not the most compelling visualist in the world.
No,
but it's more than just competent.
I think he understands character quite well.
Yeah.
I think so. A lot of his stuff is quite character driven, really. I mean,
well, a demonstration of character and emotion and visual storytelling. Because I think quite a lot of the stuff in Rocky IV in particular, which is the one I'll go back to, is like the depiction of the villains in that. God, I'm so sorry. The depiction of the villains in that is in kind of smoky, darkened labs, and it's non-verbal. And the stuff between Dolph Lundgren and Bridget Nielsen is done in glances and stuff like that. It's really nicely done.
The nasty super couple.
Yeah, exactly.
I know it's a bit good to rebar.
Yeah, so Frank, you were saying earlier, he actually made this machete himself.
Well, apparently so.
The mad fuck.
See,
It's got, my view on that would be, look out, the mad cunt's got a knife.
See,
if I was working on this film.
See, here's a nerdy fact about me. I'm quite interested in blacksmithing. So like, I watch a lot of videos.
Has you ever watched Forged in Fire on Blaze?
I just want to see whatever weapons he make out of Overwatch. I mean, that's what I'm. But now, here we go. Kill all the
dudes. And this fucking movie.
But actually, rebar's quite mild steel, so if you forge a machete out of it, it wouldn't hold an edge very well.
I've watched Bear Forged in Fire on Blaze. I love it. Me and Ivan call that Sword Boys. Forged in Fire is sick.
Sword Boys never lose.
Sword Boys. So this is that, and again, we can't really scoff at this too much because it's about recruiting child soldiers, isn't it? These are real things.
Oh, and the best thing was, the guy who plays the villain, the main general. He was literally, his family were killed by the by the Burmese army.
Holy
shit. Is that good or is that kind of tasteless? Because his family were killed by it, so he's playing the main bad guy.
Maybe, but it's his choice ultimately. Maybe that transcends taste. I don't know.
But I thought I kind of felt a bit like, is that a good or a bad thing? I'm not sure.
That's another thing about this film, right? It wastes no time. It's like, okay, everyone, Rambo 4, off we go. And another thing, this film is one of the reasons the original Expendables was so disappointing. Because the original Expendables should have been like this.
Do you know what? I tried to convince myself, the Expendables, that I really liked it. Because I wanted to it's one of those films. And then I went away from it. And the more I thought about it, I was like, and because the dialogue's horrible in it.
Yeah, it's so forced. I like the Expendables 2 is a bit better.
Yeah.
But the Expendables, firstly, the Expendables should have been a bit more like this.
Yeah.
Secondly, what Stallone talked about a lot was like, oh yeah, well, we want to make action films like we used to in the 80s. And people often go like, yeah, it's an old school action film. There is no action film like this from the 80s at all.
No.
There might be a comparable level of carnage, but how graphic this is, you weren't allowed to make films like this in the 80s, straight up. Like, the tone of it, and not even really the tone, you know what I mean? Because this isn't particularly jingoistic or anything either.
Yeah.
But nobody made films like this. Don't play that card, because it's not true. And then the Expendables is not an 80s throwback film at all. It just has an old cast in it.
That's what it is. There's nothing about the style of it that's 80s. It's just like, it's the cast. Like, because remember these guys in films in the 80s? Therefore, it's an 80s action film.
It's like, well, that's not... Stallone is so mad as well. I remember, I can't say that enough. And I do love him. But there was, I think it was around the time of... Because Expendables 2 was nearly PG-13. Then they walked that back. And then Expendables 3 was PG-13.
That was hack.
Yeah, it's shit. But he used to... Sylvester Stallone used to have some kind of correspondence / minor low-level friendship with internet sex molester Harry Knowles.
Right.
So he used to use Ain't It Cool News as kind of a mouthpiece.
Right, yeah.
And Sylvester Stallone gave an interview, I think, to Ain't It Cool News, saying like Expendables 2 is going to be PG-13. And then when that all got, that was a to-do, about a month later he come on Ain't It Cool News and goes like, I don't know what you've heard all this nonsense and hearsay about Expendables 2 being a PG-13. It's like, from you on this website a month ago. Like, what the fuck, you mad cunt?
It's like, we'd never do anything like that until the next film.
Yeah, I mean, is that disingenuous or is it vascular dementia? I'm not really sure.
The new round in Risky Christmas. It's a bit unwieldy. You might have to workshop the name.
The title needs work. It doesn't even lend itself well to an acronym. Yeah, he's still in fucking... Have you seen like his Instagram? He's still in crazy good shape, even though he's like 74 or whatever it is.
Something like that, because I think he was like 62 or something like that when he did this. And other people going, oh, God, he's a bit old for it, isn't he? He just go, oh yeah, give me 11 years, I'll make another one.
Yeah. I'd say he's a bit old for it, isn't he? All right, you tell him that, because I'm fucking not. He does the funny thing in this is he reminds me, this film really emphasized, I don't know, because like Stallone often is he's fucking muscular, but he's kind of like slender, not slender, but kind of tight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this, he has the kind of like huge, bulky Jason Voorhees figure, and he's got the huge boots and the raggy clothes, and when he's got that machete in his hand, he just fucking looks like Jason Voorhees.
Do you know what I compare it to? I compare it to like regular Batman and then Dark Knight Returns Batman. You know, he's way more solid, and
exactly.
he's just like
Year One Batman, and then Dark Knight Returns Batman. I love because whenever you get
it's thick as fuck sort of thing.
Any video game action figure of Dark Knight Returns Batman, he's just square because that's the way.
I've got one somewhere actually.
I fucking love that Miller and Jansen look of because I used to love any Arkham game where you could unlock a version of the best Dark Knight Returns one was the one in City, because the other ones they didn't look quite as good, but the one in Arkham City looked awesome. That's also where the game came. This is an operating table and I'm the surgeon. I'm Dark Knight Returns Batman. This would be a good way to die. That's my audition for the film of
Hello, I'm Dark Knight Returns Batman. And, I'm Tundra Experience Batman.
Volcano Mission Batman. This is the weapon of the enemy. We will not use it.
But they use this gigantically oversized plastic grabbing claw to insnap. If this were real,
4 times the size of my body because I have the proportional strength of an ant. Anyway, off topic. The Stallone is Dark Knight Returns Batman.
You,
I'm Stone every
Yo, Alfred. Yo, Alfred.
Oh man, I gave up trying to do voices years ago.
Well, that's I can't do voices. Well, that's the problem. You got Duncan, so like not that I can do impression anyway. We've never do. I just kind of feel like shouldn't be doing that. It's not my place.
Yeah, I'm out of my depth if I try and do that. The best I could do is sort of Chris Tarrant. It's very difficult to shoehorn that in.
Oh god, I try to remember. I used to be kind of alright with a few impressions when I was younger, but alright at a few. I do a half decent Skeletor.
Is it A, the Burmese Civil War? That's what I got.
Phone John Rambo.
Just phone John Rambo. Yo.
Hey, yo. Yeah, Chris. All right.
Yo, Major Charles Ingham. He goes to deep cuts for you.
Julie Benz and the audience go, no, Natalia Shire. Crossover. It's just getting really fucking convoluted.
I think I've covered this before because Brad and I shared a hotel room unexpectedly at Comic-Con because Brad turned up and it was like, yeah, fuck it, stayed up all night drinking. Creed 2 was about to come out and we were sort of like, so, in Rocky Balboa, Adrian's dead.
Yeah.
And then in Creed, Paulie's dead.
I was going to say, Rocky Balboa when he's dead quick. So that's but when he breaks down and talking to, Paulie about, he's like, chick gets it. He's like, and he's trying to talk, he's sobbing through it. I laughed my tits off at that.
Oh, you can't.
No, not because she was dead.
Not
because she's dead, but it's just the way he did it. It just sounded funny. That wasn't like...
Well, that's just Sylvester Stallone, though, isn't it? I mean, that's just his whole...
No, anyway, sorry. Carry on.
Anyway, we were saying Creed 2, there should have been a scene where he goes to the grave, and now it's Adrian, Paulie, and the robot. It's the robot's grave with a little framed photo on it, and he takes his... Yo, robot! Takes the chair out of the tree. And
He's there, takes Cup and Link with him. Hasn't he still got those?
As far as I know, I don't know.
Cup, Link.
Cup, Link.
Good, because it's one word, but it's separated into two.
Probably just, it's like the Phantom. Loads of them have died, but he just gets new ones and calls them Cup and Link. Probably accidentally kills a bunch of them. Like
the Stallone who walks.
The Stallone who
calls forth the power of 10 terrapins.
Two costumes in cinema that inadvertently look like enormous penises are Billy Zane in the Phantom and Vinnie Jones in X-Men 3. It's just like a sort of human phallus.
It's like dildo Matey's bubble bath bottle hybrid.
Matey's bubble bath.
That's a deep cut. I think that's a reference that no one will get.
Billy Zane looks like a cock that someone's forgotten to take the cock ring off of, and it's sort of gone gangrenous. But it's at that he's just at the phase where you can take it off now and you'll be all right. You'll be all right.
We'll drop off.
Like a lamb's tail.
Well, how did you prepare for your role as a gangrenous gland?
I restricted the blood flow to my penis, of course.
Yeah. See, I like the way you're not wasting any time as well. This is like the first brutal. Well, I mean, you had the bit with the people getting blown by their minds, but I mean, the first one where John Rambo mercilessly dispatches a bunch of people.
Yes, this is the thing, because and again, there are kind of themes and ideas. Like he refuses to take up arms, and he refuses to go into Burma because he wants to be a man of peace, and then he can't. He's stained by war, and he can't get the violence out of himself, right? And because that fucking double headshot there.
Yeah, I know. Like it was that absolute brutality. It's like, dude, you already blew off half of the back of his skull. Like, appreciate.
That's the thing. It's so extra, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so extra.
See, I kind of worry that he'd actually be choking me out and just get too much in the zone.
That's why you film it in Burma. It's sort of like why Total Wipeout was filmed in Argentina. So you've got no legal responsibilities for health and safety. You just put Stallone in Burma with a machete. Actually, I don't know. Did they film this in Cambodia or something? Did they? Or
is it Cambodia? It might have just been Thailand, I think.
Is it Thailand? Okay, yeah. This is where we get in trouble for not having the trivia.
Then you showed Julie Benz his Thailand.
Yes, his Thailand that had become infected.
Julie Benz is like, I put her in a character in a class where it's like reasonably attractive actresses of a certain age that often play love interests or wives. For example, Radha Mitchell is somebody else who kind of like Famke Janssen as well. Like she gets put in that. You always see them in similar roles where it's like, no, she's got to be like over 30, over 35ish, because the lead is this age, so we don't want to make it look ludicrous, sort of thing. But then she still has to be really quite attractive at the same time.
She's got the. I will say she does a really good job of being kind of slightly dopey, out of her depth, sort of middle class white saviour.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because like they've all got the best intentions, but ultimately they're a bunch of dipshit Bible thumpers that have gone to Burma.
This is where I feel like everything is dialed up to 11 a bit, right? Because even if you are like a very sort of peaceful, humanitarian type missionary type, right? It is a bit like they're surprised by what's happening in Burma. Like, and you think, like, sure, you would have done your research, because they were just going to wander into whatever village and go.
At least get on the Wikipedia.
It does seem like they're so clueless. Like, we had no idea that if we stepped into a war zone, there'd be a wall going on.
It's so, you can't really call it a rich tapestry. It's the cartoonish broad strokes of fucking. There's a bit
potato printing.
The screenplay was just a really large piece of A0 paper with potato prints, mostly red. Let's be honest.
Some like fucking mad person locked in a padded cell, like smearing their own shit at the walls and stamping a bit.
The maddest mad cunt.
Jeez, Sylvester, use a pen.
Use a pen, Sideshow Sly.
Sideshow Sly.
He's. I'll tell you another thing that sort of bothered me about, and this is incredibly petty, but in Last Blood, Rambo having like cropped hair. It's like, nah, mate, no.
Yeah, no. See, because he's still got his headband on in this one as well.
Yeah. He's got the kind of Rambo look.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I don't know. Last Blood. I'm just thinking it's just. I will end up watching it when it's out to rent.
Blurg, you know what I mean? It just didn't. Yeah, I will because it's a Rambo movie.
Yeah.
Kind of, but it didn't look very interesting. The kind of thing of taking on Mexico. It's like, yeah, okay, fine. I sort of want Rambo to be in the jungle, not necessarily in the jungle, but some kind of warfare And from what I understand, it's Rambo. I'll tell you what it feels like. It feels like, from the outset, having not seen it, it felt like a script that already existed that they pasted Rambo into.
Yeah, Die Hard job type thing.
Yeah, and really, if you called it Last Blood, it needs to have some kind of heavy... Because this adequately... I think they said everything they needed to say with this one, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the only way I'd do it if I was writing a script for Last Blood is... And again, the producers would never allow it, right? Because I'd do it so it actually ends more like the original David Morrell book ends in the first one. Yeah, you just... Yeah. Or so he's like lost everything. The point is he loses that battle with that is who he is, sort of thing. And so maybe it could be triggered by like the last person he cared about dying, but actually that just sends him over the edge, and he just goes kind of on a suicidal kind of mission, and because he wants to die, kind of thing.
Ultra fucking bleak.
Yeah, and like, so he just goes on a sort of one-man army thing, but he's a bit too old, so it's not Commando anymore, sort of thing. So it's not like he's...
David Morrell he's washed his hand of these years ago, didn't he? Because he didn't like the original adaptation, and then, which I understand, because the apple has fallen so fucking far from the tree. Like,
well, as a sort of awkward segue, you remember, like, do you ever play like the video game that came out on
the rail shooter one?
Yeah. I never played it, but it's supposed to be like horrible.
Awful. Yeah.
Well, get on this. You know, there's a new Terminator.
It's made by the people that made that. Yeah.
Terminator Resistance, and I'm like. And people go, this looks amazing. I'm thinking, are you watching the same trailer as me?
Don't be dazzled by... Oh, the cat's here. Don't be dazzled by a fucking... It
looks like last gen, the graphics and that.
No, I watched some gameplay, and it kind of looked like it was sort of fun, but it's like, no, you guys made that Rambo rail shooter. Like, get the hell out of here.
See, that's what I don't understand. It's like really cutting corners, because if you're going to license that to somebody, and it's a massive franchise that's made a shitload of money,
dude,
get someone half decent to do it.
No one knows how to cope with Terminator. Like, we've seen that. Speaking of which, I mean, and a sort of awkward segue back, I guess. Oh, there's also the Sega kind of rail shooter coin-op as well.
Oh, yeah.
But segueing back, I will say that, again, in defence of Stallone, because Stallone was, you know, in the console wars of Stallone and Schwarzenegger, Stallone was kind of conceived to have sort of lost, even though they both had vastly successful careers.
Yeah.
Tell you what, fucking Sly revived his two signature characters very successfully.
Yeah.
And, like, Schwarzenegger has failed to
well, he's trying to go more sincere acting, isn't he, in more recent years? Like...
Terminator's a signature character, and he's not revived that properly.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, in the days of, you know, Dirty Harry and Clint Eastwood, you know, having signature character and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, he brought them both back, and Stallone brought them back in kind of personal, low-key films that he directed. I say low-key, but, you know, financially, that he directed himself.
Yeah, not tonally. Oh, go away, cat.
Got some cat action.
No, yeah, well, Schwarzenegger was a bit like, hey, you know, now that I'm in my sort of like mid-60s, I might try actual legit acting. Like,
did you see Maggie?
No, I never got around to it.
It's
I heard mixed things.
Yeah, because everyone was acting like it was going to be the wrestler or whatever.
Yeah.
It is not. It's weird because it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger married to Jolie Richardson, which is a strange kind of. But okay, but yeah, it's just a bit kind of dreary. I mean, bless him. He in terms of his acting,
yeah, you
know, it's sort of better than most stuff he does, but he doesn't have the chops like Sly does.
No, well, that is the thing again. I mean, Arnie can act in a very specific because like doing the Terminator role, it's not an easy role.
Yeah, people love to go like, it's easy to play a robot, and it's like, is
really?
it?
No,
is
it's
it really? Not. Like, I mean, fucking Peter Weller worked with Moni Yakin, like a mime artist. You know, that he probably methoded that shit.
Yeah, no, so yeah, sure, but I mean, Stallone does have, in terms of just pure acting, he does have like more acting chops.
Because they were both, you know, a movie star and an actor isn't the same thing necessarily.
Sure.
You know, they're not, of course, they're not mutually exclusive. They're part of the same thing. But like, you know, having the charisma and power of a movie star, this scene is incredible.
Yeah. Senseless carnage round two. Why are they mortaring a village?
I know.
What I love about this is there's still more in the village when their own troops come in to shoot everybody. So they're just like, it's like, haha, I killed my own man, sort of thing.
Do you think it'd be possible? It's just the chunks that fly out. A bit of arm.
Earlier on, we threw them this dummy full of guts.
Dummy full of guts. Bolognese.
Brass Iver. Jez North. See, like, there's still explosions going off while guys are charging.
Shooting fleeing villages in the back. It's insane.
But it is that kind of...
Oh yeah, that guy gets his legs taken out.
Oh yeah. Which kind of...
They just shoot the kids, look!
It's just... standing
Do you know what this is like? Have you seen Men Behind the Sun?
Oh God, once. That's horrible.
Men Behind the Sun and Men Behind the Sun 2, Nanking Massacre.
Yeah.
This is Steven Spielberg's Men Behind the Sun, because it's very similar stuff.
That's slow motion. Like, let's wait for the explosion. Not that one.
Both his legs clean off at the knee as well. Mate, the carnage in this film.
He was on a stick. He was like impaled a child in the background. Cutting the
child's arm off. Don't they throw babies into a bonfire as well?
And he just grabs a kid off. There you go. Here we go.
It's just so ridiculous.
So obscenely over the top.
So ridiculous.
Because I mean, what gets me is like, obviously there's horrific paramilitary organisations out there who've committed horrendous war
and done
crimes.
Exactly these things.
But how many people do that just like that? Like, right, what's the plan, lads? Right, we're just gonna go in and something, bayonet a few, machete a few.
If you were able to deep fake or CGI the main bad guy into Cobra Commander, right, and put like purple jumpsuits on all the Burmese like militia, it would still, and maybe put some lasers in it, it would still work, and it'd be like, yeah, okay,
Cobra!
Cobra! There is Cobra Commander having a cigarette through his metal mask. G.I. Joe.
Oh shit! I mean, because I think this copy it's slightly extended in terms of the cut. I don't think it's got any extra scenes.
So, hold on. So this is just is it the standard UK Blu-ray or?
I think just as standard when the Blu-ray came out. I think compared to the you know what? Because actually, I tell you what, I had this on DVD and we're watching it on Blu-ray now. And I seem to recall just little bits, like just little extra bits. So I think it was slightly more censored.
Right.
Again, it's like, which begs the question, why? Like,
I mean, that's finger in a dike stuff, isn't it?
It is. Like, or you can hack 2 arms on person, but not 2 arms and a leg. That's gratuitous.
That's vile. How could you?
So I draw the line.
Just human decency.
Well, keeping the chucking a baby into a flaming building. I can't have like a Looney Tunes like.
Well, if you go on, because Val Verde Broadcasting used to be Richard Jackson back in the day, and we migrated to that because we had the subscriber base to build upon, so we did that. And I edited a trailer to this film to the Benny Hill theme. So if you search, like, I guess Val Verde
you did that quite a while ago, didn't you? Like,
no, I did it for my 30th birthday.
Oh, there you go.
We used to do film screenings on my birthday. Like light bulb. We used to do film screenings on my birthday, and I put that in front of. So that was like in front of Logan's Run, I think it was.
Nice.
And it's called. I think it's called like John Rambo gritty reboot trailer or something. And it's very deep in the channel.
Yeah, it's maybe like right at the.
This stuff. This is the kind of. I love the light bulb, but you know, I suppose showing all the kind of Rambo stuff is important. Like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because there's such a big gap, isn't there, between like when did 3 come out?
It's like 1989 or 1990, isn't it?
So it was something like that.
Very end of the 80s, I think.
Yeah, very end of the 80s or very early 90s.
You played you definitely played the fucking PS2 generation Punisher game, right?
Yeah, man, I bought it when it came out at the time.
See, that whole flashback thing is like, we were soldiers.
Like, because Jimmy Palmiotti
I'm just
wrote
following
that.
orders. Yeah, and it's pretty straight up adaptation of Welcome Back, Frank, isn't it? It kind of tries to have the best of both worlds between that and the movie.
Yeah. You know what? Which is why I kind of bought it because I'm a massive Punisher fan.
Yeah.
But then I thought, should I get this? Because usually, like, you know, tie-in games and stuff like that are usually crap. But then I saw that it was. It basically, I think on the back it just advertised how violent it was, and Jimmy Palmiotti wrote it. So I'm like, I'll take a chance on it. Like,
galvanizing someo's head, smashing their face in a window. I love gun tension where you sort of put the gun to their head.
Slaughter mode. Just throw knives at people.
Because you build that up by killing people. Me and my bro used to say that as Punisher getting a boner. And that's why. See this guy that comes in. He's basically doing the General Troutman role.
Yeah.
But he kind of looks like a bit like Brian Dennehy. And it's like, that's a very confusing.
I'm Brian Dennehy.
No, not Brian Dennehy. Okay, bye. Dang, 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 dang.
What would John Rambo do?
Well, I mean, In a weird way, it wouldn't really make a lot of sense, but to have Dennehy in Last Blood somehow, if he's just on holiday in Mexico.
After all this time, like grumpy old man, he's like held a grudge.
Yeah. Well, as long as Brian Dennehy could say, how can the same shit happen to the same guy twice? Forged in fire, on blaze. Okay, so this week you're going to be making a Rambo machete in your home forge.
So you could just buy one. It's Thailand. There's loads of them.
Yeah, but you'd end up with one of those like
gift shop machete.
Yeah. Like one of those display samurai swords that Weeaboos have. Like it's just like.
Did you ever see? There's a clip of some guy, and it was like one of those like shopping channel things, right? And he had these crap swords, these crap katanas sort of thing, and he's trying to sell them. He goes, and these things are really solid, and he's banging it on the table. And it just snaps and flat out hits him in the eye. Whoa, get down, cat.
Oh, cat near the laptop. Cat near the laptop. Yes, that's it. There we go.
All professionalism, all the time.
All the time. That's the thing, like, because Duncan's got a dog and a cat.
Yeah.
And old Aslan, he gets eggy when he wants his fucking lunch.
Yeah. Oh, no, she's just an attention whore. That's all it is from my cat.
I think it might be this scene, because what's his name? Thingy McTavish.
Graham McTavish.
Graham McTavish. I'm pretty certain there's a scene where they're all in the boat and all they do is sit around and go, many a mickle makes a muckle, but too many chefs cook spoil the broth. A rolling stone's worth two in a bush. They just sit and swap platitudes. Yeah. It's really weird.
And you got like a few stereotypes. You got like hillbilly dude over there, and you got like I love it when they do that. Like, I don't want this beer, I'll throw it. It's the same times when you go, I'm desperate for a cigarette. And you tell it's a non-smoker, so you light it, take 2 drags, and put it out. Like no smoker ever does.
Ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fucking trope of the group of mercenaries, which then he kind of obviously builds on for Expendables.
Yeah.
So, but see, Graham McTavish.
Maximum McTavish in this, isn't
he? And the camp prison guard from Red Dwarf, which is it's him and Ricky Grover, wasn't it?
Oh God, yeah, I'd forgotten all about that.
Oh, Tulip didn't want anything to do with me when I got her, and now she's all friendly. But...
Yeah, I get. Well, it's the kind of like, now you're not paying attention to. Yeah, now you're not paying attention to me. I want some.
Does she ever sit up? Does she come up?
She might do. Do you know what it is?
She'd come up, mate.
Because she's that selfish. She needs to feel like she's got definitely plenty of space. Like she won't try and sit next to you if she feels she can squeeze in next to you.
Right.
She's got to go. No, I need like twice as much space as I need.
Okay.
Because I'm a big selfish cat.
The Tulip cast. I think this might be the platitudes swap-in scene. I can't remember, but they both sort of sit there, and it's like. I think this is the bit.
You are by me, son.
The film does kind of clip along, but this is where it grinds to. I wouldn't say grinds to a halt, but it slows down for a bit. But it sort of has to because of all the fucking carnage in it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because this is almost like it's a bit of a weird scene. This one because really, apart from Schoolboy and Graham McTavish's character, right, the rest of the mercenaries aren't really characters. They're just there.
It feels a bit like a Paul Anderson.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, well, why are you doing this? Because it's implying that you're trying to do a bit of like, character introduction there, but you're not actually introducing much where the characters are concerned. Like, here's the mercenaries, which we won't really learn anything about.
They love that is such a thing in films. You know what? Because everybody saw fucking Aliens, and people like talk about how well-rounded the Marines are in Aliens. Most of them are just cannon fodder.
Well, yeah,
the ones we're left with are really great.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like you don't really get to know like Frost or Spunkmeyer.
There's not enough.
Someone wrote that on purpose.
Not enough discussion of Spunkmeyer, I'm afraid. Not nearly enough of Spunkmeyer.
And yeah, because Apone bites it like pretty early.
Because they are really good. That's one of the best teams ever. Yeah. But like people forget there's way more Marines than you think, and most of them fucking die straight away.
Really quickly.
But it's something like it's a lesson that Paul Anderson didn't learn, and he always just slaps a Marine team in things. And Stallone does it here. You always see the wacky Marine team. The Doom movie does it.
Like, oh god, yeah. Fucking introducing the dipshits. The weird thing about the Doom movie is, and it is cack, right? But that first person perspective scene is really cool. I really like that.
Hey, at least they did Doom stuff. Look, I've made clear, and we just did a podcast on the new Sonic trailer that I'm generally against video games movie adaptations because I don't see the point. In terms of movie to video game. That has worked a few times.
Yeah.
More than a few times.
Yeah.
Where is the video game of this. I want to be running around with a machete and a 50 cal and exploding people into big bags of blood. And
Ridiculous carnage.
And then just getting... I would get Hideo Kojima to direct it. So it's full of 5-hour cutscenes about the horrors of war.
But also everyone's got really on-the-nose like names as well. I'm Mr. Gun. Like, because I have a gun.
Well, it's either a really on-the-nose name or just completely obscure one.
Yeah.
So it'd be like... I don't know, like... Growling Otter or whatever, like the fucking
Otter's Pocket.
Otter's Pocket, Wizard Sleeve. I'm Wizard's. Hi Snake, I'm Wizard Sleeve. I'm Otter's Pocket. Hog's Eye.
Hog's Eye and Growler.
Hog's Eye and Growler, and their commander Rabbit's Nostril.
At the same time, I'm writing this in my head. The Inexcusables.
The Inexcusables. Yeah, I mean...
Look at the size of Graham Tavish's lobes. Sorry.
Oh, he's got some mega lobes.
Fucking like Cockney Ferengi.
Cockney Ferengi. You forgot the rules of acquisition, you can.
Watch that. Only Ferengis and horses. Fran Nagus falls through the bar.
Put a Nagus in your pocket.
Should just be called like Tangents, the commentary.
Get the stem bolts from the van. These are tangents. These are all the DS9 deep cuts that people love when they're hearing about Rambo. See, Rambo with the green, go stepping back a minute, with the green headband, he sort of looks like a Solid Snake that's been left out of its packaging. It's sort of expired, bloated.
Sun-dried snake.
Sun-dried snake. Vine-ripened snake. Ding, 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 ding.
Hey, it's my, I was going through my organic period.
You
want some produce?
I've just been tangentially reminded of something, and that shot reminded me of one of the shots from... the Wolverine, the super cool, clever, sensible Wolverine film,
yeah.
I really hate the bit when all the ninjas fire kind of ropes into him with arrows, and you sort of go, if only he had some readily available mechanism to cut ropes.
Yeah.
And he just takes it like a bitch.
Made out of something that can cut through apparently anything.
Well, at that point, yeah, he hasn't even had his claws stolen yet.
Yeah.
He's had his healing factor taken or whatever, but they haven't taken his claws.
Yeah.
He says, dude, just fucking cut through the ropes. I know, but they're made out of like more adamantium or something.
I think it would have been really funny if actually, when they took away his healing factor, because technically he breaches his skin every time his claws come out, so he does have to defend himself. He just dies of a staph infection. It's just like an open wound.
It's all pussy and he doesn't deal with it. It's got really swollen hands.
He just refuses to take antibiotics.
Where's that bloody cat?
Shut up, cat! I'm trying to shout, but at the same time, not shout down the mic either.
Peek the mic, yeah. Come here. Stop being a fan.
Did this last time, didn't she? Waited till a little bit the way through story of Ricky and then just hadn't said a word. She was ignoring you the whole time, and that was when she decided to go, oh, I'm gonna...
Yeah, you start ignoring her, and she... Yeah. Look, you're funny.
She's a selfish bastard.
You should come and sit up here if you want, but you won't, because you're a dick.
Yeah.
You lovely thing.
Yeah, if you move up a little bit. If you move up towards me...
Move up.
It's not gay. No homo.
Necking with Fiona Fullerton.
Yeah, he's necking with her. He's with a lady, they're necking. See again, Partridge again. You can't,
she always comes back to that.
I want to see Sylvester Stallone necking with Graham McTavish.
Clang, lang, 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 lang. It's not the beginning; it's the end of the beginning. That is a vile image.
That's some harsh slash fiction. That
he's talking about his cock.
Yo, you want to see my bell? Am I rocking my bell bows?
Something's come up. I think they have Schoolboy in this, and then of course Expendables 2, it's fucking Liam Hemsworth, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's the young naive member.
Yeah. Because even in Expendables 2, it's like, this is my girl. It's like they literally did, this is like my sweetheart waiting for me back home.
So ham-fisted, isn't it?
It's like that, and the 3 weeks away from retirement. It's like those two. It's like
one of the
giant crosshair on their heads.
Oh, one of the Viz. There was like a Viz kind of Charlie's War type thing, and like one of the background soldiers has a line of dialogue which is, when I get home, I'm going to buy a farm, etc.
Oh God, I love this.
Gotta love this, man.
Yeah. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's an old unexploded tall boy bomb in World War II. Because apparently, cause I found this out when I was just doing some research for something I was writing, and you know back in World War II, bombs that were dropped from planes. The whole solution was because you didn't have as many different complex explosives, so it was if you want a bigger explosive, make a bigger bomb and have more TNT in it.
Right.
And that was it. So I think the tall boy ones had just got Christ knows how much
fuckload of TNT.
It's just cast iron casing with an absolute wank ton of.
Well, that was the thing with the first atom bombs, wasn't it? Because their yield was the frame of reference is how many tons of TNT. And I think it was so many tons of TNT was equivalent to a Hiroshima-sized explosion.
Well, it's in the 50s, the Russians, the Tsar Bomb or something, and it was 57 megatons or something.
Fucking jeez.
So it was I can't remember. Someone's gonna correct me because I can't remember properly. But it was well more than twice the highest yield of nuke that the Yanks had done at that point. It was just a nuclear pissing contest.
Just think about what they have now. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And they just exploded just because they knew that the Yanks had known that they'd done it. So it's see that? Fuck off. We've got a bigger bomb than you. It's just.
What's the thing with us and Trident? It's everyone's got machine guns and we've got a Nerf. It's can we play? Yeah, surely.
Exactly. Oh, it's over there in the corner, like an annoying kitten. It's England. It's Great Britain. I love the way they murdered everyone, burnt everything, but still decide to hang around long enough to hang some people as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is where you could have the plot twist where there's a predator. Because for the longest time, because Tony Jaa had an odd career, and he came, under the auspices of Stallone, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he retired from acting briefly because he said he was going to pack it all in to be like a monk or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, you have to deal with the cat, man. Sorry, I'll keep talking. He was for ages was pitching this Rambo sequel where it was going to be Tony Jaa was going to play a genetically modified super soldier that Rambo has to hunt. And then it was kind of I would as well. But the thing is, with that, you then turn Rambo into a sci-fi universe. I mean, I would totally watch it, but then clearly
it starts going down the Fast and Furious line, then doesn't it?
A fucking man, I want to watch Hobbs and Shaw so bad.
I've
never seen a Fast and Furious film ever, and I should sort that out.
I've seen the first one, and I've seen bits of again, they all blend into one to me. So I think I've seen bits of 4, 5, and 6 here and there, but I couldn't tell you which one was which or whatever else.
Right.
But yeah, that's ridiculous. But the first one is really weird because now that it's that franchise, the first one is just about a bunch of people who rob stuff in cool cars.
Yeah.
And that's it. There isn't anything really particularly ridiculous about it.
Well, it's street racing movies. I always respected that series for how it just completely changed itself, but I've never watched any of them.
If you were to watch it all in one go, though, in series, it's one just
confusing.
One would just not fit. It would just seem it would just be it wouldn't fit.
Well, because it turns into so insane, and it's got this really involved continuity because they killed off Japanese guy.
Yeah.
At Tokyo Drift, so then I think from 4 onwards they're all set before that, but then they have to
go after.
Advance the timeline after the fucking head hanging off the thing.
No, it's difficult. Remember, they do bad things. Just in case you've forgotten from the last 5 minutes.
I don't think we've demonstrated quite enough what these bad people do.
Just in case you start sympathising with the Burmese army. Just been a couple of minutes since you've seen a horrific atrocity. There's a head on a stick. Just as a little horror top up for you there.
I think this is a kind of blend more or less of, and probably for a bunch of reasons, but it's practical and VFX.
Yeah.
And from what I can tell of what's the practical, it's really, really good. I mean, I think in terms of sheer blood and guts, regardless of what you think of it, it's really nicely done.
Yeah, it's a bit like Men Behind Us. So. God, that's. Do you know what? There's the guy who I get my fag liquid from, right? The shop. I chat to him in there when I go in his shop, and he's asking me about, because he's chat about films. He's quite interested in films. You get him through the chin. Well, that's the later one, but it's this one. This one just goes. There you go. But although he hits him in the head and then he explodes, doesn't he? Nails into the.
See, lands on a mine. Fucking brilliant.
Anyway, he was asking me for like any films that I might suggest, and we got into war films somehow. And I said, "Have you ever seen Men Behind the Sun?" He goes, "No." He goes, "Is it any good?" I'm like,
That's the I'll never speak to you again for making me watch that film.
I went in the next time. He goes,
"You sick fuck."
he goes, so I watched that film. He goes, "Fucking hell."
What exactly is he going to do if an arrow that close? It's just going to bounce off. Ow! Yeah, no, I wouldn't recommend Men Behind the Sun to anybody.
No, it's a horrible film.
Though this stuff, so supposedly, because everyone said for years that there's the kind of poster shot there. Everyone said for years that
live for nothing or die for something. It's like, I could live for something. I reckon that is an option.
Go live on your horse farm, mate, like with your dad. Yeah, the Men Behind the Sun they're supposed to have really fed that cat to some rats. It's not true. I read recently, the director
didn't they use actual body parts in it?
Yeah, so that supposedly the Chinese government procured the corpse of a little boy that had drowned.
Yeah.
So when they live autopsy that kid, it's supposed to be a real child's corpse.
Yeah.
I mean that film is that's one of those things where when I was younger I used to hunt out gory films because I was a total fiend, and Men Behind the Sun was this thing that I had to import because it wasn't released here then.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it ever was, and it's this thing, and it's one of those things that when
I
got
in
it
the early 2000s I saw it.
When I got it and watched it, it was like, I think I might have gone too far this time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
know.
It's like, oh, fuck.
I just turned it off after the end of it, and I was just sat there in silence for ages.
We used to just smoke weed and drink whiskey and fucking watch gory movies, and we watched that one. And it was just like, fuck, like that's a bit rich for me.
I was gonna say, there's nothing kind of ironically sort of you can laugh at. It's like that's just horrifying.
I mean, there is some stuff you can ironically laugh at. I mean, like putting liquid nitrogen on the people's arms and stripping the skin off and putting them in the pressure chamber so their guts come out their bum. That's kind of. Because this is the thing. This does feel sort of like the Hollywood remake of Men Behind the Sun. It's so like wanton. Because like Men Behind the Sun 2 has a bit more kind of carnage in it. Men Behind the Sun 1 doesn't really have carnage. It's just a proceeding. Yeah. It's kind of like a. I never liked the Hostel films, man, because I just didn't. There's no plot connection.
They just
in
don't. Well, who was it who said? It's a director. I don't know if it was James Cameron or someone. But he said there's a difference between like horror and disgust or revulsion.
Yeah.
So he said, I'm paraphrasing, but he said something like that. He goes, "Revulsion isn't horror. Like that's just making someone go, it's not scary.
It's just gross.
Yeah.
There's no.
It's not. But there's too many. I think he's just making the point that there's too many horror directors who think they're the same thing.
Yeah.
Like if you make something really gory, then therefore it's scary.
Somehow inseparable, and it's not really the case.
Because I mean, I'm like you. I'm a bit of a psychopath. Like I don't. I'm not really repulsed by. But I've got strong stomach, sort of
strong
thing.
Constitution. Yeah. Because most horror stuff and particularly gore, I could just watch. And I used to make gore stuff when I was a student. Like I've got like a flight case with all my mortician's wax and stuff.
Cool.
I made like air pressure squibs, and I did like I did like a disembowelment effect once with some sausages.
Nice.
Yeah, stuff like that. So I don't know. I always admired that because I was always a big admirer of Tom Savini and Greg Nicotero and stuff. So I used to study what they did.
See, I used to want to be a makeup, special effects maker. It's one of those things where I just kind of talk myself out of it. It's like, oh, you'd probably be shit at it anyway. What's the point?
I did it for a little bit on little student films and stuff, but I just don't think I've got the talent for it. I think I'm practically minded enough to rig this, and I did a lot of it, like rigging stuff up, making the makeup side look good. I'm not a gifted sculptor or painter particularly, whereas I can practically. I was quite happy with that because you can't just make gunpowder squibs in this country, so it was air pressure ones, which I thought worked quite well. They have the limitations, and I've done like stabbings and stuff like that. It's been a while since I.
Well, the effects anyway. As in not literally stabbing.
Well,
legal disclaimer. Comrade Richard Jackson.
I haven't murdered anyone.
Yeah, I haven't murdered. This does not count. This is not admissible in court.
It sounds like something a murderer would say.
But under the cover of blue.
Yeah, so much blue.
Tell you what, they're not really that enthusiastic, them dancers, are they? Not really putting the backs into it.
Well, it's sort of like it's set up a little bit like the rave scene.
Oh yeah, this is the whole thing as well, because isn't it? Because not only is the general like a horrible sadistic murder, but he's also a paedophile as well.
It's not,
again, everything's turned up to 11.
It's really, you can't just be one thing.
It kind of feels like it still feels like a propaganda piece, doesn't it? Like,
well, I mean, the Rambo films always kind of did, you know what I mean? And that is really sort of what Rocky IV is as well. Like, I mean, it's just this. It's funny, yeah, because like,
Oh yeah, he's just getting his legs eaten by pigs as well, because
this doesn't really feel like it's got much to say about America, because it's just about this one war guy in Burma, and clearly, you know, Stallone's read about Burma and went, okay, that's where Rambo's going next.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, any of this kind of stuff where it's kind of these things that start off as being kind of about PTSD and the poor treatment of veterans become propaganda pieces.
Yeah.
So it's like fucking Born on the 4th of July, right? Made in the USA. Sorry, I mean.
Yeah.
You know, that's not, people take it on as this patriotic anthem, and it's about sort of being mistreated as a veteran returning from war.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, oh yeah, America. Yeah, it's like, no, it's how you soldiers were treated terribly.
Yeah.
It's.
And Rambo's about PTSD,
clearly,
but by the second and third one, it's just like, whee!
It's an action film.
Yeah, you know. So I don't know. This again, it's not really about necessarily America's role in the world, but it is about an American.
Yeah. I would. I mean, yeah, I'd say I agree with that. I like the fact that it's managed to go on this long with those girls just dancing up there, and they've all just been watching like as they're watching a show. And then,
I mean, the soldiers don't seem to like it, but to be fair, those girls aren't putting their backs into it, so what do you expect?
But it's almost like, we'll watch you for a bit. Oh no, they're not trying hard enough. Guess it's rape time then.
Yeah, this looks like Day for Night, surely.
Yeah.
So I really hate Day for Night. I just don't think
Well, it always looks like what it is, doesn't it? That's
it's
the thing.
Just fucking blue Adobe Premiere filter on fucking. Because the stuff in Castaway is like most of the movie.
Yeah.
It's just like shit.
It just always looks like what it is.
There's one of the bits that I really didn't like in Fury Road, where the Day for Night bits, because they're so fucking cheesy, and the rest of the film looks so good.
It does though, doesn't it?
And the amount of subtle CGI in that film as well.
Well, that when CGI works best, when it's used to kind of enhance and augment.
Don't fucking try and make a Scorpion King.
Well, do you know what's mental? Well, there's a lot of things mental with that film, but you know where that one of the war boys, the ones who get shot in the face, and he does a whole witness me and jumps down with the 2 thunder sticks onto the car behind. They had a descender rig for that. You see how they did it?
No, I didn't.
Literally, so so there's that car behind, you know, the vultures, I think they're called, aren't they? The ones with all the spikes all over.
Yeah.
Like that. So yeah, covered in all the spikes. That's the real car. It's there. He jumps off the rig, and it's a descender rig, and it stops him short of the spikes by a few fucking inches.
That's awesome.
As the explosions go up either side of him. So I'm thinking, so that guy's still doing a leap of faith, because, you know, if the techie hadn't sorted it right, he's gonna just impale himself. And when it stops him, like there's a spike, and he stops less than a foot away from it. I'm like,
Yeah.
Fuck that, mate.
What was that poor lass that was fucking horribly maimed on the last Resident Evil film?
Oh god, that was horrendous.
All the special effects deaths as well.
And they didn't she?
Yeah, look, there's some boy rape going on as well. There you go.
I'm actually surprised they don't show more than that, considering how committed they are to me.
Like, maybe he's like an actual devil, or it turns out he's Hitler that's been hiding out in Burma or whatever.
Rambo 6, Rambo versus Super Hitler. In hell!
Super Hitler in hell.
Mecha Hitler.
On acid in hell. It's like Norman Wisdom. On acid.
Turbo Stalin.
Turbo Stalin.
Oh my god, they put the soul of Joseph Stalin in a car. Knife right through the throat. And
He's 10,000 horsepower equally distributed among the workers. Uncle Joe is back and he's pissed off.
Oh Christ.
Oh, jeepers.
Pol Pot in a monster truck. you can go nuts, can't you?
Yeah, that movie Monster Truck should have been about Pol Pot's ghost.
Dictators and cars.
Part of the Dictators and Cars series. It's Idi Amin in a Volkswagen Beetle. Oh, the Rambo fans are going to be really annoyed about this one.
Yeah. That's well because, like, can you even suppress, like, a Barrett 50 cal?
I have no idea.
Because wouldn't you need, like, a suppressor, like, twice the length of the fucking rifle?
Use it as anti-personnel anyway.
Yeah.
You know, So I love that bit in Versus where the guy tries to do the Matrix dodge and he just explodes. Whereas I don't know what the translated dialogue in the subtitles is. I have reflexes 50 times faster than Mike Tyson. Yeah, and then he does that Neo thing and he just explodes.
That is, I love.
There's a little prequel film on the DVD as well about how that guy lost his hand. Because you remember, like, one of the two agents has got his hand missing.
Oh yeah.
There's a little prequel film on the DVD. It shows you.
Yeah,
all
I
about
remember that. God.
I love that. It's one of the best endings ever as well.
It is. Oh, it's such a good film. That. Yeah, because George. I remember in the interview with that Tak Sakaguchi, who plays like the main guy. He was saying that he goes, "Oh well, in the knife fights at first." They tried to use fake knives like covered in tin foil, but it looked rubbish. Yeah. Right? So the alternative was, we just had to use real knives, and I got cut a bit. I'm like, you do know that everybody who ever does, like, at the very least, like, stage stuff with live blades, or number one, the blade would be dull. Number two, it's a well-known trick that people put sellotape over it.
Dude, there are so many ways to do that.
Like, that's like, everybody knows that, and like, so they literally went from a bit of wood with some tin foil on it. So no, that looks shit. Right, real balisongs or whatever it is. Then
real knives. Is this the scene where he rips the throat out of the guy? See, this red smoke is a bit like Fury Road as well, isn't it?
Yeah, what's the smoke there for?
Someone ran in with the smoke bomb. I don't know why, because they're having just a cool party. Yeah, here we go. He just tears his face. Just tears his throat off.
It lifts him up as well.
It's just like, and as well, you know, he towers over all of these other actors, isn't he? It's just this fucking.
It's like, because he's so much smaller, he just looks like he's picking up a child.
Jesse Costa does that to that guy's nutsack in Preacher, doesn't he? He just grabs it till it bleeds. It's fucking. Oh. Yeah, on my train up here, I go through a Cambridgeshire village which is called Warboys.
Excellent.
And I always just want to lean out the window and go, "Witness, mediocre." But
see, I'm amazed that nobody at the time did a sort of parody as in Warboys, the tune of Wild Boys.
Yes, yeah.
Nobody didn't see that.
See, red smoke just adds visual intrigue to your shitty day for night filming.
Red smoke at
night. That is visually really, really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know what the crowd. So we haven't been paying attention, but someone ran with the smoke bomb. Though, yeah. It's not the best prepared.
They kind of fucked themselves, though, didn't they, the Burmese? 'Cause it's like, oh no, we provide the means of cover by pointlessly setting off that red smoke. That's one of the biggest tropes that I hate in fucking films. Well, someone falls over and it takes them forever to get up.
Yeah.
Like.
See, and this exact
that doesn't work with physics. His head exploded. He's shot in the head. Yeah, his body flew back.
He does that happens in the Expendables 2 as well, doesn't it? Yeah. And it's the same shots down the scope as Liam Hemsworth. It's the same. He's clearly got a boner for snipers. And this is where Stallone turns into a werewolf.
Hey,
I used to be a teen wolf, you know.
Oh.
Yo, lycanthrope. He just bummed a boy. Didn't stop that, did you, Stallone? What's another bummed boy on the pile? You know what I mean?
Throw another bummed boy on the pile. Like 2 office sorted and trays.
In and out.
Bombed to be bombed.
Huge plastic Staples tray full of bummed and unbummed boys. He's bumming boys in there. Look at this. This film is it's a tour de force of ill-fitting bucket hats. Because that lad's got one. She was wearing one earlier.
Great quote for the fucking Blu-ray
tour de force of ill-fitting bucket hats.
Richard Jackson.
9 out of 10. A tour de force of ill-fitting bucket hats. But these dogs know. They can smell Rambo.
Yo. You're smelling
all those dogs are to be bummed as well. They're going in the bumming tray.
Like massive hoppers.
Unbummed dogs, yeah. It's like a Pez dispenser with little dogs in it. Those pipes symbolise the pipe that man laid in that boy.
Yo. Hey, I don't know what's going on here, but he gets through a lot of peanut butter.
By the fucking gallon, mate. Look at that. Really nice photography in a lot of this. I mean, they do take it. I guess if it is Thailand, as we've not totally established, but I think you are right.
I think it was.
I think you're right. They've photographs some of it beautifully. A lot of the river stuff with the kind of light reflecting and whatnot, and those kind of mountainous kind of areas. It looks really great. Not mountainous, I suppose. Rock face is what I'm trying to say, but
I say mountainous.
I mean rigid mineral.
I mean igneous rock formation.
Igneous rock.
I think that's sedimentary.
See, those lorries look like Pez dispensers full of bags of blood, don't they? Because what's going to happen? And this and through about an hour 5, like this third act goes on and on and on.
Random mine there, not even minefield, just one random mine in there.
Come on,
have a go at me then, you lady boy cunt.
You lady boy cunt. Graham McTavish. What's he doing these days? Because he turns up and stuff a lot, doesn't he? Well, he did. You don't seem to say much.
He did get typecast for a bit, didn't you? Like, you know,
that shredded leg. Yeah, as this.
Yeah.
And he's so extra in this as well. He
is.
just absolutely lays it on.
Graham McTavish and his pulled pork leg.
See, that guy looks like a schoolboy. He looks like the one of the dead kids from The Sixth Sense. You know what I mean?
I could help him. You can't.
Nope.
No. If I just look at it.
Quickly, bum that dog.
Oh my god. He did Lassie in the assy.
Lassie in the assy. Did Cujo in the Pujo.
See, I'm just waiting for the comments going, you letting Frank do the Stallone impressions for? There's no Duncan Casey. I know it.
Hashtag worst commentary ever.
Hashtag like I'm just like a death to your ratings.
Hashtag unsubbed.
Yeah.
All the searing insight we're offering into Rambo 4.
I don't like the way you talk, and I just realised I'm gonna get another comment because I'm taking the piss out of like how Stallone talks.
Oh yeah.
And guess what? Person who said that. I'm from the north, so I say things wrong in a different way. So yeah, what I like about your channel is, technically, right, since it's mostly populated by white, bitter men in their 30s, I'm the most diverse person because I'm a northerner.
That's true.
I'm still a white, bitter man in his 30s.
Add into the pantheon of Duncan Rule, Duncan Casey, Richard Jackson.
The closest thing to an ethnic minority, like Val Verde has.
You know, yeah.
But token northerner, Frank.
That's why we keep you miles away, so you don't pollute our channel with chips and gravy.
Whippets.
So many whippets. Yo,
quick for the. Gotta get the dog track.
Gotta bum a dog. Dog. Hey. I'm gonna bum a dog.
Hey.
Gone to New York for some reason. Look,
the infamous
the
boat.
Navy are here again. If you change them to Cobra, because it's got the boats and stuff, like G.I. Joe.
I remember playing like the arcade game. Did you ever play the one where they're just like it sort of works like a rail shooter almost because you're constantly running. But you just kind of control the crosshairs and you just...
So instead of having like a spaceship, you're a guy.
Well, yeah, and it's like third person
I never played
view.
that.
And
I've never played that.
Yeah.
I
completed it in the arcades when I was a kid. I was well happy because you know like when you play in arcade games when you're a kid, they're always such really hard difficulty levels to rinse you.
Yeah.
I'd never completed an arcade game before and I did it.
Yeah, I've got to the very last level of Virtua Cop 3 because it's my favourite coin-op.
Cool.
Yeah, you know, we haven't talked about Rambo and the Force for Freedom, the Rambo cartoon.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Because I always wanted to recut. I wanted to recut dialogue from RoboCop to the RoboCop cartoon because it has loads of the same characters from the movie are in it.
Yeah.
And you could get all this kind of swearish
Claymore to the tall boy bomb bit.
Yeah, which is good work, and it's teed up earlier. You know,
you got a bit of like because I wanted to see more of that stuff. I think Rambo works at its best when he's kind of being pursued and he's kind of got that MacGyver shit going on.
That seems to be what happens in Last Blood. Because Rambo's kind of like, you know, MacGyver war shit is kind of part of it.
Because he is like some special.
He's like Green Beret or something, wasn't he?
Yeah,
like, he was some kind of, I don't know. That's sort of like a Royal Marine Commando, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, so you'd be sort of trained in all this kind of stuff. Oh my god, quick, get it away.
It's going to blow up a dog.
I was gonna bomb that.
That's my bumming bomb. Don't worry, it's covered in leaves. It's harmless.
I just love the way they're evil, but they're also incredibly derpy, and he knows that they're gonna fuck. Like, I mean, dude, it's something tied to a bit.
Dude, why would you?
Why would that not be a trap?
Someone's left us. It's a great little
It's like in a loop.
mushroom cloud. There's a great little insert of his eyes there. He does a few kind of the edits. There are kind of little inserts of details in flash frames before something kind of happens.
That looks a bit ropey.
This is a bit ropey. The kind
And
of
then
shockwave.
the blast wave hits them. They fly apart like leaves with leaves.
Telling you, Cobra Commander, deep fake. It'd be fucking great. I don't want any of that Joseph Gordon-Levitt bullshit either.
Yeah.
Got proper Cobra Commander.
Yeah, proper Cobra Commander. We're kids. Yeah, again, flamethrower mounted on a boat. Like,
It's a
right.
Burmese flame boat, mate. It's a very popular warfare.
how they
Again,
do it.
it just lends to the G.I. Joe-ness of it all. It should be a big red plastic rocket on a spring.
I'd love to see like a live action version of like G.I. Joe, but everything's like the big toys. Right?
Yes.
So,
Oh, dude, again, there's a proportional strength of the ant where everyone's got this big, like...
oh, God.
Why don't you have a look? Go have a little look. How can you snipe with that enormous hat?
Well,
Someone's going to go,
apparently
well,
even
actually, that hat prevents the sun from getting in his eyes. Okay, fine.
Yeah, because apparently Michael Marsden, is that his name? Matthew Marsden. Jesus. Matthew Marsden who plays Schoolboy. He said he had to carry around like a fake one all the time when he was running about, obviously, when it wasn't like the close-up. We said even like the rubber fake like Barrack weighed like about 30 pounds or something like that.
Look at it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think they weigh about 50 pounds or something. That's why you don't see snipers running around with them.
mounted on a bipod, yeah. Well, they're for vehicles. They're taking out engine blocks and shit.
Yeah, like exactly. Because the whole point is you don't need a bullet of that fucking caliber to kill a person.
What kind of monster hits people with some bamboo? I mean, yeah, sure, we saw babies being thrown to a fire earlier, but this is beyond the pale.
This is why you're supposed to go, oh no. It's like building tension as he hits them with a bit of a twig.
Well, because
he's like, fucking have a go at me, can't you, ladyboy cunt?
Oh, stick it in the wound.
Right in the pull pork.
Right in the pull pork, quickly bum him.
Fetch me the peanut butter.
I think the lesson I take, my takeaway from this film is that's what you get for being a fucking do-gooder.
Yeah, basically don't help anyone at any
Stay
time.
at home and mind your own fucking business. I'd like to remake this in Africa, and it'd be like with Billy Connolly and loads of, like it would be about comic relief, basically. If like comic relief going wrong,
Like Lenny Henry and co gets kidnapped.
I just want
by the LRA or something.
James Corden getting blown up by a landmine.
Yeah, he'd have to be an actual casualty. He's the one that they make an example of.
Oh, just electrodes up his arsehole. You know what I mean?
See, I'd like to remake Men Behind the Sun, but every single casualty is James Corden.
Deep fake. Okay, if you could. Hey! If I was deep faking.
It's like, the fact that you shoot about 12, 50 caliber rounds point blank at a guy. Like,
What I love about this,
it's blown in half.
this constantly feels like it's about to end and then doesn't, and it just goes and goes and goes and goes.
Well,
it's
apparently-
fucking brilliant.
You got
the
two for one.
twofer. See, Stallone loves that kind of focus, that quick focus pull
Yeah.
scope shot.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
He used
yeah,
it a
he
few
does, doesn't
times, but yeah, this because it sort of goes. It's like there's an intake of breath. The fucking leg. It goes like, and then just carries on. 'Cause you think there's punctuation, but there's not.
I thought you just
You think
headbutts
it's
him.
a full stop, but it's a comma.
Yeah, that's right. At the very least, a semicolon. just shoots it like. And I love the way because like they don't even behave like soldiers, right? Like the other one when they rescue him at night, he just stabs him 6 times in the same wound, and it's not even like that simple, efficient like slash to the throat or in the back of the neck. It's just stabbing him in the kidney.
Imagine if it was Claudia Winkleman and Freddie Flintoff, and like Vernon Kay, and like Vernon Kay caving someone's head in with a rock.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh, man's eating humanity to man, and
Oh no!
sending
Horrors of war.
sending dick pics.
Fucking Gary Barlow having his throat torn out. Like,
deep fake this entire film.
Mate, to make this into, and just I would release it as comic relief for the movie, and I'd put in loads of light-hearted moments purely to make a really light-hearted trailer, and then just release it to cinemas.
So, have you ever seen Soldier Blue?
No.
That was like, it's about, I forgot which Native American massacre it was, but then it starts off, it works really effectively because it seems like a really sort of PG normal kind of themed film, like really light and everything. And then all of a sudden the massacre happens and it's brutal. Like, it's I've forgotten which tribe it was, but yeah, basically they surrendered, and like the US forces killed them anyway. Okay. And it was, but then when it suddenly happens, it's a massive, like, it pulls the rug out from under you because, like,
kind of left turn.
Yeah, huge. It's really graphic and savage. You're like,
look, here's Vernon Kay. Kay caving in a militia member's head. Mate, there's a great thing when he realises what he's done. He does this amazing face and it just cuts away. Like, look at that face and it just cuts away. It's so good.
Oh yeah, here you go. The Karen rebels, mortars. Everyone's just. Do you reckon like half of the shoot is just people getting yanked around with Isaac?
It's just the way people explode in
It's
this.
just...
And there's a few, like earlier on in the first massacre scene, there's one of the bits we both laughed at. Yeah. There's a single frame of what looks like the human equivalent of a chicken wing attached to a bit of breast. Because there's that sort of pec muscle and an arm just goes...
I like the way the Karen rebels have... So this is like their rallying cry. So Stallone's like, oh yeah, better start shooting again. He goes, ugh!
That's what I mean. And it looks like it's over, but it's never over. It just goes and goes and goes.
And I just love it the way it's like, it's not a back and forth battle as well. It's like, as soon as the Karen rebels turn up, the Burmese are just getting slaughtered. Like, it's just no... Like, the good guys aren't sustaining a single casualty now.
No.
It's just...
It's sort of like the others are doing stuff, but it's just Rambo. It's just Rambo.
Because the funny thing is, in a way, they probably thought this was him being more restrained because, like, he's not running around; he's just staying at the turret.
If I was to if comic relief has a main character, a kind of legacy face, and that's who has to be deep faked onto Rambo, it is Lenny Henry.
It is Lenny Henry.
It's Lenny Henry. Yeah.
Here you go, the flamethrowing boat.
The flamethrowing boat.
Yeah. The way the boat gets destroyed is amazing. Like, if you want to sum this film up in one short bit of scene, it's the boat. What is it? Because like Schoolboy blows a guy's head off. He shoots. Everyone's already dead. Then the Karen rebel, he just blows it up anyway. Oh, here you go. It's a truck full of guts.
This truck full of guts. This is just
chops trees down. It's glorious.
This is an unintentional video game movie, isn't it?
It's like shot everyone in the boat.
Have you seen that thing where someone's taken this scene, they photoshopped the gun out and given him thumbs up? It's fucking brilliant.
So yeah, that's the thing. Everyone on the boat was already dead.
Stop, he's already dead.
And then somehow, he pulls a Jason Voorhees because he basically teleports, doesn't he?
Yes, yeah, he's Friday the 13th video game. Oh, my guts.
It looks like he's about to shit himself in that shot. I was like, oh no, I shouldn't have eaten that dog, that bomb dog.
That bomb dog. So there is he kills the end boss by stabbing him, which is an intimate way to kill someone. And there's eye contact, and
there's no homoeroticism at all. I just penetrated him with my self-crafted weapon.
There's no way you could read into this whatsoever. Looks like I fixed Burma. Bye, everyone.
Burma, bye.
That's right, Tulip. You helped me.
Thanks for that. It's a great contributor to this commentary.
Oh, Mr. Harry.
Yeah, so don't thank me. For deforesting, like.
Yeah, this is the kind of Team America thing, isn't it?
That's it. No need to thank me.
Bonjour, everyone. Everything is bun. Yeah, so he cuts his kind of Voorhees figure. He looks stacked in this, whereas
he just looks really dense, doesn't he?
He's like a big cake. Because he becomes kind of wirier again for Expendables. He gets that more kind of a boxer's figure.
Yeah. And this one is just like, he just looks like if you hit him really hard, he just wouldn't move at all. He just looks like a giant flesh bollard.
So it's really great seeing it because there's a kind of shot from the rear rotating one way and then from the front going the other, kind of like trucking shot. Like,
Don't you try and use actual sort of film analysis now at
no,
this
but
stage of the game?
Don't
you try and add some legitimacy?
No, this is the full stop I'm putting on this. This is the punctuation to this commentary. So there's going to be some analysis. Hey, look, see the scene construction, the visual storying in this film is really good. It's not amazing, and it's way better than merely competent. I'm not damn it. It's really good. He's a good director.
No, he is.
It's just this film is so fucking deranged.
It's just off the wall because it is. I think. Do you think he was really trying to make like a sincere sort of statement?
Oh, no, I do. No, I really do. I think that's
more so than like an entertaining action film. I
that's why it's so funny because it's really kind of earnest. It's got these kind of mad, highfalutin ideas about war, but it's just the maddest mad thing.
Because I think if you tone down the violence in this, not that I'd want that to happen, but if you did, it'd be a much different film. Even if you just had the same thing, but you didn't have as much explicit gore in it.
And it would probably be quite dreary, to be honest. Because the actual weighty stuff, it doesn't handle brilliantly, but it's just kind of there. It's sort of like ham-fisted.
Because that is the one thing when I think about, Rambo 4, the first thing I think about is ridiculous, over-the-top violence and gore.
That's the most memorable stuff is the kind of scene earlier in this scene, and it really is like this kind of legitimised version of Men Behind the Sun. Because Men Behind the Sun was literally communist propaganda.
Yeah.
It was made by the Chinese government and whatever. It's anti-Japanese propaganda. Based on some real fucking horrific things the Japanese actually did.
Yeah, because the rape in Nanking was horrendous.
Dude, and again, things such as this do happen, and like the Rwandan genocide is another example of something like absolutely fucking heinous. See, this is it. This kind of presses the button. This just kind of ends Rambo very nicely. It just sort of wraps it up. Maybe he's able to return to normal life.
You don't know if his dad's there, right? Like, seriously, the film's about to end. You got my cat going through a plastic bag. Rambo. It'd be great if his name was Rambo. That's what the art stands for.
His name was just Rambo squared.
Rambo cubed.
Look at all these horses for me to fuck.
Hey, beats screwing a dog, right?
Yo, dead.
Quit horsing around over there.
Looks like we're gonna be neighbours.
Hey, I want to check out my feed bag.
I got a soap lick for you.
Settle up.
Oh god. Yeah, so I don't know. I haven't watched. Obviously, I haven't watched Rambo: Last Blood. As I said many times, I believe it starts on the farm here, as I understand it.
My cat wants me to kill her. Sorry.
She's a fucking nuisance.
She's yeah. 1 second.
Go kill the cat.
Yeah. Just try and wrap this up. You couldn't do it in 2 minutes, you little prick. I'm trying to shimmy.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That was intimate.
It's one of those to try and give you the crotch or the
the crotch or the ears. Well, there you go. That's the end of Rambo / John Rambo. So now we're into credits. Again, lovely shot here. They're kind of walking through the kind of walking. He's not walking into the sunset, but it's the end. It's the classic kind of way to end a film.
Well, I also think it kind of sort of ties back to First Blood as well, because he's in like, where's that take place? Like Montana or something like that. Yeah. So it's kind of got that similar scenery as well. So maybe it's me reading too much into it, but it kind of feels like it sort of links back to the original with that shot. I don't know.
My general appreciation of American geography is if it's not on the East Coast or West Coast, I don't know where the fuck it is.
Is Chad Stahelski, isn't he like one of the John Wick directors? The stunt coordinator for this?
I don't know.
I think I don't know. You pronounce his name Chad Stahelski.
Stunt coordinator Thailand, assistant stunt coordinator Thailand. So there you go. Tons of Thai names as well. It's Thai stunt team, that is vast. So a lot of fucking stunt team got blown the fuck up in this movie.
I swear, guy, who'd be a stunt person? So you'd like, what do you do? I just get fucked up for cash. Basically, I get injured for money.
It's fucking rad though, isn't it?
No, I tell you what, cool. I've got all the respect in the world for stunt people, because I wouldn't have the balls to do any of that shit. Like,
I met Kane Hodder recently, name drop. But he's fucking cool, man. He's all about this. He just loves all that, and it's just like
he's got a dry sense of humour as well, hasn't he? Because I met him a couple of years ago. That's why I gave him one of my books.
He throttled me, which I put on my Instagram. It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, because he's always got his gloves on, hasn't he? No, that's what he did every time he was doing all these photo ops with people. Whether people asked to or not, this HorrorCon, he was just like choking
He
them.
told us he had to stop doing that because someone asked him to choke him and then threatened to sue him. So now he does a thing with his arm, doesn't do it with his hands anymore. Because someone asked for it and then said, "I'm going to sue you for assault."
Also, it's kind of a bit weird where you never know. You might get a sort of fucking Hutchins Carradine type, mate. You know, like
oh, mate, many boners have been popped and laps have been moistened by the old choke out. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like you wouldn't want to be like, you're enjoying this too much.
Yeah, you're way too into this.
Yeah.
He's still going. He's still
Knife
walking.
maker Gil Hibben. You mean he didn't make it himself?
Bullshit. This is you know what? Like in terms of long credits, this is an absolutely justifiable long credit sequence considering the sheer amount of fucking carnage
with the two lawn dresses as well.
Yeah, well, you got to have your lawn dresses, man.
Construction buyer. Foreman. See, the problem is we can't make fun of any names in the credits because they're all Thai names, and it just basically
that's just racist.
It's racist.
It's just racist.
Although, look, Punya.
Punya.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because obviously I used to work in language schools, and the Thai names very often feature the word porn.
Yeah.
Which is funny the first couple of times, and then it's kind of like, okay, no, that's just a cultural difference.
And I think actually, like, there's a female first name that exists in Thai language is Rat or something. I think that exists.
Yeah, Rat and At sounds are quite common, and these are kind of the English. These are the kind of in English versions of the Thai.
Yeah,
the written. Because I have no handle on the Thai language whatsoever.
It's
Got to say, I've met and worked with many Thai people over the years. Big Thai community in Cambridge, actually.
So
yeah, they have a Thai festival and stuff every year.
Got a few in Liverpool, nothing like not any large amount, to my knowledge.
To my knowledge.
See, this is what I hate about the end of these commentaries, because you're trying to it's pacing it at the end, isn't it? It's like you're filling the time.
This is the thing that after having done over 200 commentaries or whatever I've done,
and sometimes it's too short and you actually don't get to wrap up.
Sometimes you're just going to go like bleh, and it's just like, oh fuck, all right, fine.
Bye then.
It's definitely that, because sometimes the feeling sort of you run out of steam. I remember there are times when we used to do them with Ollie, we would do multiple ones in a day, and Duncan and I sometimes do multiples in a day. Well, no, we always do at least 2 in a day, but sometimes we've done like 3 or 4, and it's just fucking exhausting.
Are you breaking kayfabe now, dude?
Breaking kayfabe.
They meet up every week.
Yeah, right. Fucking Duncan is an hour away.
Yeah. Selfish bastard.
Yeah. It's a pain in the dick meeting up. But we have to do it because it's how we make things. It's how we make the sausage.
That person's first name is P. So I'm just going to be childish about that.
That one's called Virus. That's definitely like
that's nothing to do with being Thai. That's just someone being edgy.
That's a 90s hacker.
Yeah.
There is someone just called O. Just like Cher.
Yeah.
It's just Lou, like Cher.
Oh Jesus.
Ah, Jesus.
Yeah, shame we didn't get a chance to do more. Because the thing is, I don't know. Cause it is. I had the idea. Well, me and you were talking last night, weren't we, about what we do? And there's a bunch of films that you and I would really love to do. But then I'm also thinking, are people going to watch that though?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing, because like there are places where Duncan and I don't cross over. So there's a bunch of stuff that say Duncan and Brad could do that wouldn't interest me. Whereas stuff I could do with yourself and Duncan Raw were things that don't interest Duncan.
Well,
so
that's the thing. I mean, like when you did all the Italian sort of horror stuff, I'm like, if Duncan Rule didn't exist, like if he wasn't into it, it's like that's also absolutely up my street.
That's the kind of stuff we can do, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think the reason we
if Duncan didn't exist, if he went missing one day,
Cambridge man tragically dies. Wait, what?
Because I'm really bitter about wanting to do a couple of Mario Bava films.
That's the one. Well, the thing is, nobody watches those, but I don't mind because I want them to be in the back catalogue of stuff we've done.
Yeah.
So I say nobody. I mean, they get less than 1,000 views, and
Story Ricky wasn't like the biggest one, but then again, if you're going to do that and you're going to do something like for example, Demolition Man or something, at the end of the day, naturally, you've got more fans of Demolition Man out there.
People complain about it, but the fucking Terminator commentaries get insane numbers.
Yeah.
There are some things I'm not just, considering the relative user bases, I know like Ollie's still releasing commentaries and he's doing it with Stuart Ashens and stuff. Some of ours outperform some of his.
Yeah,
and he's got a huge user base, so it's interesting to me how we might have split. We didn't split the audience because everyone's with him still. But I don't know. I don't know what
you just didn't say what proportion.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what the kind of what the X factor is there. What makes a difference? Because
I know what you mean. Because it is weird. You just get some things and you just think, why is that? Logically, it doesn't make that much sense why that should have that many views and that other one shouldn't. And
yeah, that's it. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's different audiences wanting different stuff, and the whole thing. You can look at the analytics and stuff, but how useful that actually is to sit and go through a bunch of, because we do. I've got the app for the and you can log in, you can look at the graphs and see who subscribes when and whatnot, and it's difficult to know how useful that actually is.
I mean, I theorise maybe, and it is just like, I don't know. I've got no sort of evidence to back this up or anything, but I wonder, because you get people like dedicated to a genre and they've got loads of subscribers. I think, well, because people who go there, they know that's what they're going to get. So if you're like a horror movie channel or something like that, right. If you're really into horror, you're going to just go to that person because they specialise in it.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe in your position, because it's more general films, it's like, yeah, exactly. You're going to have some people who, like certain kinds of films more than others. And
yeah, maybe. Just have to get my dick out.
Dicks out. Goes, Val Verde After Dark.
I'm bringing back Dicks Out for Harambe.
I just put some hilariously photoshopped thumbnail where Duncan looks really disappointed in you and horrified at the same time.
Yeah, vile. Or maybe we both have to get our dicks out. People are more likely to want to see Duncan's dick.
Do a YouTube poll.
Yeah. We'll do it on Twitter as well and combine the data.
Yeah. Collated all the data and actually
Robert Puff, that's unfortunate.
Val Verde After Dark.
Man,
Duncan can wear like a little genital tuxedo for the Bond thing.
Yeah, a little black tie on his wang.
Try to see me red shirt.
They get, look, Burma footage provided by Free Burma Rangers, which provides media free of charge to help the people of Burma issue/witnessing.
So they basically just sort of like stealing footage sort of thing in a war
like
zone.
It was, yeah. And there you go, Studio Canale, which provide the Rambo footage.
Pick up shots whether you could get shot, sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, some of it was licensed from the BBC by the look of it.
Yeah.
Man, most of this fucking runtime is credits. Jesus.
This is the longest credits I've seen in a film for a long time. You miss your train at this rate.
It feels increasingly.
When I said I thought the film was a fair bit shorter than that, that's why, because it actually is. It's just like
bloody think in terms of the actual film.
Yeah. Half an hour. The producers would like to thank everyone else left on the planet, everyone else in Thailand, because we haven't named about 3 people.
There's a credit there for travel by. Give us a lift. Go on in. Travel by.
Hey, 2007.
2007, shit.
Yeah, because I think it was shot then, but didn't it come out? It came out early 2008. I think like in the first quarter or something.
Yeah, because I seem to remember that this and John Rambo both, apart from getting the money together, both had kind of like fairly swift turnarounds.
Yeah.
They weren't particularly protracted because they were sort of done fairly cheaply in a classy way.
In a good way.
Away from the mic there. Well, there you go. We're getting the logos up. So
there you go.
Nearly always the discussion of who makes it to the end.
I'm pretty sure it's practically like 1 year to the day since I think
it is pretty much.
I want to say we recorded Story Ricky on the 15th of November
I was
last
here
year
for the same conference,
yeah.
So I'm pretty much sure it was to the day.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
Our 1 year anniversary.
Frank will see you again in a year when I come back for the same expo next year.
Probably like a film that everybody will hate.
Yeah, that's the one. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Val Verde Broadcasting. You know who we are. You can find all the details down below. There is merchandise on Twitter and Facebook and all that kind of stuff. Go
and
go
Patreon. There you go.
Patreon. Yeah. I should probably mention that as well. Yeah. So there you go. We're done. We'll be back again soon. Well, I'll be back again soon. Frank will be back again at some point. I just don't know when.
At some point when I can afford to get myself Dune Sooth.
Dune Sooth. So there you go. That's it. We're wrapping up. We will see all y'all on the flip side.
Bye.
Bye.